Hey everyone, we are back today on this sunny Sunday in Australia with another induction cooker, a portable induction cooker, and one that I couldn't actually pronounce to start with, but is Germanica. This one I just happened to see at Coles as I was doing some shopping the other day. It was in like the clearance special area of crap goods that no one ever wants. And it was $50. It's normally $60 or $70 at like Super Cheap or BCF or through those brands, but Coles had it in their special catalog something or other section. So I got one because I don't have one of these before, or I haven't tried one of these before. And I thought we could try it out together. So if you haven't watched this video or this channel, before, I have a couple of different tests that I do with induction cookers, and I'm always kind of looking for the perfect induction cooker. I want it to have really good temperature control, to have a big induction coil in there, because that is not the size of it. I mean, if it is, that would be awesome, but it's usually not. I want it to have good feet. I want it to be, fairly easy to use, not too noisy. It's a bit like that Venn diagram. Like, you can pick any two. You can't have all three. So I'm looking for the right one. So far, if you check out my last video about induction cookers, the one from June was excellent. My all-time favorite is the Nationwide Electrical, and I've got a video about that from a while ago, but they don't make it anymore. I spoke to their team. They love the video. They just don't make it. It's end of life. So I'm looking for the next best one. June is so far winning, and it was only $99 from Anaconda. This one I don't expect to win, but I'm going to try it anyway. But one of my subscribers recommended another one, and I've ordered it, and I won't tell you what it is, but when it arrives, I'm going to do a video, and it's a bit above my normal budget. I think it's around the $129 mark. I actually got the top model because it looks that impressive. I wanted to get the best that they had, which just means it has some smart. They say it's smart. It's not. I think it's just got an OLED screen, and that's smart. So shit marketing. What can you expect? Let's get into this one though and see what it does. It advertises 11 cooking functions, up to 26 centimeter diameter cooking plate, not cooking element, the plate. Yeah, you can fit a big plate on it. 180 minute timer, 10 temperature settings, from 60C up to 240C. We're going to test that out. Overheat protection, that's pretty normal as well. Touch buttons, easy to clean, fast heating, auto saucepan recognition, safety lock setting. They're all stock standard, nothing exciting there. Don't steal me. And a few little pictures on the back says much the same stuff. Remember as well, to use a portable induction cooker or any sort of induction cooker like this, the way they work is through conductivity. So you have to have cookware that's conductive. If you're not sure, get a magnet. If the magnet sticks to it, it'll work. Most cookware will also say on the label whether it's like dishwasher safe, induction safe, gas stove safe, all of that. So look for the little induction logo. Let's get into this one though. First up, got to open it up. Get the drawer open and barely touch the camera. Bump. And for once, since so many people complain about me not reading the instructions, I'll read the instructions. That's not how you use a knife. Comes packaged just like any other. We don't need the box anymore, unless I take it back if it's that bad. I have taken a few back because they're that bad. Had one that was very noisy. I can't remember which one. It might have been Tefl or something like that. Very noisy, and the induction plate was really off center. So I took it back to Harvey Norman and like, oh yeah, we'll have to test it out first. I said, yeah, go for it. And when they plugged it in, it didn't even turn on. So that was faulty. Now, this is interesting. Straight off the bat, this is a more satin or matte finish. I've not seen that before. They're all glass and glossy. So that's interesting. All right, instruction manual. We'll flip through it for all the haters. Safety, warning, general information. That's all your buttons. So, all right, actually, people like to read what the buttons do and have questions sometimes. So it is pretty straightforward. It's got icons and words, which is really good. And they do have this both temperature and wattage setting, which we'll see on there. Installation, flat surface, where to use it, power consumption, beep, 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 cooking functions. Steam, cooking, power, flooding. Okay, so that's cool. So it tells you the temperature or the wattage. So what I can only imagine is it's going to have like a thermistor or NTC or something in there. So if it's wattage, it's just going to regulate the amount of current that it gets. Very curious because most turn on and off to do that and not actually regulate the current. They're almost like as a duty cycle essentially. But then if you set it to the temperature, it's probably just going to keep heating it up to that temperature. It's going to have a little bit of a gradient, I'd say. So like if you set it to 200, it might get up to 210, turn off, come back down to 190. We'll have a look at that too, though. Con G. The fuck is Con G? If someone wants to let me know, that would be cool. Slow fire. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, so very interesting. Got a few little FAQs on the back, and it's made by AONZ. Aeons Proprietary Limited, distributed by. Comes from China like everything else, I'm sure. Warranty booklet. This is, all right, that surface finish is interesting, especially for such a cheap one. I would have thought a cheap one would just have plain glass, probably not even as rounded as these corners are. Nice 6 screen on there. Single fan underneath, and like a lot of them, the back here isn't rubbery feet, just the front are. And I find that an interesting design because it does mean in some situations it might slip around. And if you've got like 4 liters of boiling water on this, you don't want it to slip. So the rubber feet are at the front, not the back, and the back's where the weight is. Very interesting design. I don't agree with it. Cable, oh, it's about a meter long, maybe? Yeah, that'll be about a meter. That's not too bad. I've seen longer. I haven't really seen shorter. Let's turn it on and see what it does. It beeps really loudly. If you're hungover, I'm slightly hungover, don't drink, kids stay in school. If you're hungover, that would not be fun. And I imagine a lot of college students use these for the obvious reasons. Now, on, cool. It's not doing anything, so heating immediately, not happy, no pot. Makes sense. Could you? The fan's having a bit of a spaz trying out. So you can't really turn it. That's mildly annoying. It didn't even get the chance to heat up. Fan's cranking. Sounds like it's got a fair bit of, you know, a bit of flow in there. So it's actually pushing a bit of air, which should theoretically cool it quickly, but it doesn't need to cool. Why is your fan going off? What if I turn it off and back on? Yeah, so the fan's on a hard timer. It's not actually sensing the temperature. The idle power consumption is bound to be quite low. I still don't have a kilowatt. If anyone wants to buy me a kilowatt, it would mean testing this way more accurately. Yeah, it's drawn diddly squat right now, 0.81 watts. That's not bad for idle current. It's not great, but I mean, like, it's got to power that little LED. So let's get on to it then. The first test we're going to do is to try to see, ooh, I wonder if you've got 3D audio. I wonder if there's a recording in stereo. Is how big the cooking area in this is. Now, got to give it credit. It does look like, it's hard to see. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's the coil does look to be 4 to 5 inches, a bit bigger than usual. But it does also look like it's got a gap in the middle, which would be what they're doing. Not too bad. What the hell just happened there? All right, so let's put that on. Let's put, no, let's actually see how it goes. Boiling some water. So I've got a pot that I haven't cleaned properly. Into that, don't do this over electronics, you can see out the corner, I'm just putting in half a litre of water. I always half a litre of tap water from the same house in the same pot when I'm doing these tests. This pot is about the same size as the coil. If I ever had a bigger induction coil, I'd grab a bigger hot, but this means the tests are fairly uniform. So what we're going to do now is go back to our timer function and just see how quickly it boils that water. So we turn this on. What we'll do is we'll go heating water, which should be 2000 watts according to that booklet. And if you've got kids, it does have this lock function, which is actually isn't bad. Might be one way. Why? I turn it off, the fan comes on. I turn it on, the fan turns off. All right, that makes no sense. So that's just getting the light right on it there. So we'll go heating, menu, start. So you can hear the coil straight away. That is cranked all the way up to 200 watts, as you can see there by the LEDs. So let's time this one and see how it goes. I'll just turn that brightness up too. Wow, battery power is 5%. This might not last the legs because the battery had a moment earlier. Alright, so far that's pretty good. The water already has steam coming off it. That is already hot. At a minute, it's just starting to boil. We'll wait till it gets to a rolling boil, and I think it's going to be impressively quick. Let's see if it is consuming the 200 watts it says. Let this refresh again, because it averages over time a little bit, which is why I need a kilowatt. Alright, 1783, 1784. You can hear it. That's about to boil hard, and that was a minute 30 to get to boiling. Let's get it rolling boiling, like violent boiling. Minute 50. I'm impressed. That's pretty bloody good. Time how long this fan runs for. I'm gonna guess 60 seconds. Most of them seem to be about 60 seconds. Ah, that's still getting the bloody light. Stick my favourite mug there. Gee. Stay. Alright, what was that? Sorry, shit, I was in the other room. Yeah, 60 seconds. So that's stock standard. It should be fairly cool by now. I was impressed. It didn't draw as much current as it said it would, but it still boiled the water bloody quickly. If I recall, that's quicker than most. So I'm quite impressed with that. Let's now, though, chuck the thermal camera on and just have a quick look at where the temperature is in that. Alrighty, we're back, and what I've got here is a stainless steel fry pan. As you can see, it's nice and reflective, but with a slightly thinner base. And we can just turn this on, and we should be able to see exactly where it's heating up very quickly. Look at that. So that's extremely good to be aware of. You can see the metal instantly dissipated that, but you saw that ring there. So there is actually a gap in the middle. If you're cooking eggs especially, that's going to be really important to be aware of. That behavior with the fan is definitely really odd though. The fact that when you turn it back on, the fan turns off, that's not logical in my opinion. It's getting up to temperature pretty quickly. Let's just say now though, let's say I want to keep it at 60 degrees, and it's at 56 degrees now. What's it going to do when it gets there, and how close is it going to be? Oops. That's the interesting thing as well. So what I realized is there's only one LED in here, which you can actually see from there. And you could hear it cut out. So it's either at 120 watts or 60 degrees. There's no way to tell. But it is turning itself on and off to maintain that power. So the temperature's dropping pretty quickly from 60 down like I thought. When it gets low enough, it should turn back on. This essentially just means though that you can't pick whether you want a power or a temperature, which means it might not have that thermistor or NTC in there. They're essentially one-to-one coupled, and it's so far not very accurate. That was up in the 70 degrees when I wanted 60, milk would be pretty burnt. Now it's nearly back down at 60, and yes, I did mess with it, so there is kind of a reason it went over that, but it's not ideal. When is it going to turn back on though? This is taking a while. And what you can't see actually, I just realised, is the LED for the milk setting here is actually blinking, seeming to indicate that it's in standby. It's about to go below 50 degrees too. It's not ideal. If you're curious, the meter is showing it drawing 6 watts. So it's really not doing much. It's powering some LEDs and a fan. And no, look, that's leaving it too long. So the last thing I'm going to test then is just how it goes. We can change the mode. Let's put you back on the other camera. You can see what it's doing here now. Don't know, AU means automatic, I guess. But let's put it out to 800. Was drawing a fair bit then. We did crank it up. Let's give it a second to update before this phone dies and see how it goes at 800. You can hear that rapid on off. That's how it maintains the 800 average. So we'll give it a few quick cycles. It's interesting, so it draws nearly 1100 during the on cycle, which means there is some staging. Go up to 1200, we'll see if it manages to draw a bit more. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I've got to give it credit, it's got more power regulation than most of them. It's not just using the duty cycle and turning on and off, it's actually regulating its power to some degree. Oh. Noise changed a bit there. Hit some sort of harmonic in there, I reckon. Now it's always overshooting it by about 100 watts too. But it does do to the 2000 watts, alright. Turn it back on and leave it at that. So, all in all, I'm impressed with this for a few reasons. It's fairly cheap. It's got a nice surface finish. It's got a variety of options, and it's got an okay size cooking area. The gap in the middle is a bit of a pain. I'd almost rather a 4-inch without that gap. No pun intended. And it does regulate its actual current to some degree as well. It's one-to-one temperature functions, not a fan of, but you know, this will be a close second place for a cheapie. You know, if you want to spend around 50 bucks, this one's all right. Just put some extra rubber on the feet, just to make it a little bit safer. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm actually close to monetizing this channel, which is pretty sweet. I do have another channel about technology if you want to check it out, but let me know what you think. If you've tried this, if you've got any suggestions of other ones to try out, check out whatever video is recommending now for you. And have a look at the other induction cooker videos that I've got if you want to learn a little bit more. They go right back to the start of my channel in 2018 or so. Till then, take it easy, enjoy your weekend, catch you around.